Hello everyone and welcome to TransByDef. I'm Pamela and today we're talking about getting SRS while within prison. This is a bit of a touchy subject. I think across the board a lot of people think that prisoners particularly shouldn't gain access to medical care, particularly because they should be punished. And that's an issue with a lot of people, especially while we're talking about people who have murdered people and things like that. I think it's hard for us to sit back and say you shouldn't have medical treatment because you're in prison. I think that's easy for us to sit back and say those kind of things. Well, whilst they may have made their choice about when they did the wrong thing, they made the wrong choice, and so they should be punished accordingly. But I think from a medical point of view, people should obtain medical treatment within prison, and I think that's an acceptable viewpoint to have. Though from another viewpoint is that, well, I'm a good citizen, I don't break the law, but I'm not allowed access to this medical treatment. So I think that from that point of view, it's very unfair that I'm not allowed to have this kind. I mean, I can't get SRS for free. I have to pay for it, while people who murder people and go to prison don't have to pay for it. That said, like, they don't have the means to pay for their medical treatments because they are confined, and so from that point of view, you could say that, well, they deserve medical treatment despite that fact. So I personally think that if you're going to go to prison, that you really shouldn't expect treatment necessarily, because you have done the wrong thing and you really shouldn't have done that thing. So yeah. But the laws in Queensland do say that, and in Australia generally, that if you enter into the prison system, that you're obliged to have medical treatment. But in the case of gender dysphoria, you have to be undergoing treatment for some time before the offence happened, so that you can't actually decide that you want to be treated in jail, whilst previously you weren't treated for that particular disorder, condition, or etc. So I think that in Australia, so if you were treated previously for gender dysphoria, then you can continue that treatment, and you can also apply for further surgeries and whatnot as well. The big thing that I find about that isn't too good is that the people in prison, the prison officials and even politicians, sort of have an agenda and concerning this. They will give you treatment, but they'll only give you half the treatment. Their agenda is that if you have gender dysphoria and you develop that within prison, or the condition worsens within prison, that they will actually remove your sex completely and not treat you. So you won't be able to obtain female hormones in the case of a male. And there's another point to make, is that female to males, actually aren't treated similarly to male to females. In fact, female to male prisoners are allowed full access to as much as they're allowed, which is everything, whereas male to female prisoners aren't allowed access to the full treatment. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there between the two, and I think that's wrong. And I think the agenda the prison system has currently is that they will actually just remove your sex. If you have gender dysphoria and you're displaying symptoms of suicide and maybe genital mutilation within prison, they'll actually remove your testicles through an orchidectomy, but they will halt the treatment there, and you won't be able to continue any further along those lines to obtaining the gender goals that you may have had when you were a child or whatnot. So yeah, unfortunately, the prison system, the officials and politicians do have agendas, and they're quite nasty. And overall, I think it's probably best that you stay out of prison and obey the law as best you can. Now, I know that can be hard in some cases when there's unjust laws about, especially if you live in a country that has zero tolerance and mandatory detention for minimal crimes like, speeding, fines and things like that. Could be criminal convictions in some countries, and of course zero tolerance means that you'll go to jail for a minimum of 6 months. So that I find is an unjust law. So in that case, like you could be embroiled within the prison system, and I think that's why they need to have treatment for people within prison, not because necessarily because they did a bad thing, is because sometimes the law isn't just and there are discrepancies. Sometimes people go to jail and they're innocent, so you got to remember that when you come to make your judgments upon people who are in the prison system and trying to obtain their human rights. So that's all I've got to say about this topic today, and I hope everyone has a good day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.